We'll pick up the preview race number 4. This is the market for the Dave Hoskin Carriers 1200. It's a rating 72. Secret Squirrel. I knew I'd stuff that up. Practice it 7 times. Secret Squirrel, $3. $6 for Stradivarius. And then you've got Hundy a month there at 10. If we scroll the page up, we'll see below All Amana is Here We Go. It's in commission too at 10 to 1 early. Proceeding of the early stages of betting, I guess, is $25. Thad, what can you tell us about the money in the 4th?
Look, Secret Squirrel's always been a horse, Jason, that has a lot of support, and unfortunately for supporters, it's run a lot of seconds, but it is just threatening now to really string them together in a row, I think. And obviously Lily Thunder goes around in the first race there at Ellerslie today as well, so that'll pay to watch because it ran a very strong second to Lily Thunder at Te Rapa. That price, $3, certainly looks just about right, I'd say, and the win 2 starts ago certainly paid the believers there around Secret Squirrel. So you can understand the support again for that horse. A couple of fresh up runners, Jason, I should mention Bachelor Babe at $10 has support, 3 trials leading into this, and at $10 we're seeing some support there. And also Here We Go for Ian Adams at $11. We're seeing a little bit of support there. Also the local Hundy a month never goes round without a few dollars on. Look, Stradivarius is a little bit quiet, Jason. Rufus Rough Cut is a little bit quiet, and that's a horse we do see action for if there's real confidence around Rufus Rough Cut. So tread carefully there, I'd suggest. But look, a well-backed favourite in the first is Secret Squirrel.
You probably would like that, wouldn't you, given that he's placed second 8 times?
Well, look, he's always well supported. He's been threatening to do it, so I hope for his followers he breaks through today and they take the $3.
Yeah. As heartfelt as Bevan Sweeney was, wishing you well as well. Okay, this is the speed map brought to you by Form Pro. Bit of speed here. Stradivarius, Bachelor Babe, Here We Go, Barabbas, Hundy a month, Manhattan Street, Secret Squirrel. Look, did you give Barabbas much of a chance here, Sweens? He looks well placed, but there is, I suppose, on that, a bit of pace in the race, isn't there?
Yeah, it was one of the races that I thought across the whole program that there would be good speed in it, and then I start wondering about these speed maps, whether they're going to play that sort of important of a role with how wet the track has become. It's going to be who's going to handle it. It's going to be able to push forward and find the right position. So I found this a really interesting race in that I couldn't have Stradivarius anywhere near $6, so my market was really distorted and enabled me to find a few at value that I wanted to back. Secret Squirrel is a horse who's been here, holds a great record, handles wet track conditions and will be very competitive, but at $3, although he's hard not to select on top, it's not a price that I'm going to be interested in backing that particular horse. The couple that I did find down the bottom of the book, Here We Go. This is a smart horse, make no mistake about it. It was a little bit disappointing at its most recent start. Ian Adams does the training, but second up last time and it also didn't quite do what we expected. It was very good fresh and then just not so good second up. So I'm wanting to go with it again. Bachelor Babe came to Wanganui and blew a field off the racetrack this time last year off the back of a good jump out, and this horse has been going nicely enough at the trials. Its most recent trial behind the stablemate in Rosewood. So I'm expecting a run there at a little bit of value, and then for 4th in this particular race, so I headed to the 10 in the book, that being Rufus Rough Cut. Look, nothing went right to Woodville for this horse, who looked good at the trials, and he missed away and Jonathan hunted the horse up, which possibly in retrospect wasn't the right thing to be doing, and then came wide, fresh up after a long spell, just petered out on its run. But it shouldn't be undone in these sort of track conditions as well, coming out of Waverley. But as Thad mentioned, money generally comes from Waverley when they think there is a winning chance. So, look, I'm with Secret Squirrel as the top selection, but it's a race I'm having a look at value prices outside of the favourite in a betting perspective.
The first of the listed races is brought to you by John Turkington Forestry Limited. It's the Castletown Stakes, and $4.80 at the moment is the price for All About Magic, the favourite. Speaking of the Pitmans, this daughter of showcasing has won 3 from 5. Jaeger Bond is at 5. She's a Lady at $5.50. Star Ellipse at $8. And if you didn't pick this up yesterday, Minolines and Lovestruck both scratched. Thought this was a really difficult race, Thad. Can you give us some leads with regards to the cash that's being invested in this?
I can certainly give you some leads, Jason. It is a tricky race and it's certainly a wide open race. And look, All About Magic, I think, deserves to be favourite. 3 from 5. Obviously a southerner trekking north, but has got the runs on the board and there is good support there. Look, our northern customers are probably boxing around it to some degree, but there is enough support around All About Magic. Jaeger Bomb worries me, Jason. You'll see $14 currently on totes, $5 our second favourite. Have not seen any money for Jaeger Bomb from the Tony Pike stable, so when there's no money around a Tony Pike runner, you'd be a little bit concerned, I would suggest. She's a lady they do like for the Baker Forsman team, won well, resuming at Awapuni. That is probably the second best backed runner in the race, and there's nothing for those next few. Familiar, Star Eclipse and Cypher flaunting, Jason. Oh dear. David Green stable, resuming after that Karaka Million run, which it didn't really have any luck in or didn't really get into the race, but I think it's been 13 into 9.50 and clearly our worst result in the race. So if you want to follow the money train in this year's Castletown Stakes, you'd be on the David Green, Sam Spratt ridden flaunting.
Yeah, there is a bit of discussion about that horse, particularly after a recent trial that was excellent to the eye on top of the earlier season 2-year-old form. All About Magic, Jaeger Bombed and She's a Lady are horses that could go forward, and then you've got a clump of horses that, albeit off limited showings, suggested they might sit and compete for those midfield running spots, and Platinum Bordeaux, who looks like it might settle back, and she was quite impressed with how Platinum Bordeaux charged to the line. A few videos to get through, Bevan, a lot of form that you've got to try and pull together from all over the place to assess this.
Yeah, they're similar videos, or the same videos that the boys showed yesterday on the first call. Then I was driving to the races in the hail and the pouring rain, and I thought, well, I'm not sure how applicable they're actually going to be to the race, because a lot of these performances have been on much better going than today, and there'll be the opportunity that horses are going to travel up to the corner, and then once the hoop lets the head go in this sort of ground, that they're just going to find very, very little. This horse possibly is the most talented in the race on what we saw here at Ruakaka. The time-wise, they won't be running 57.93 for 1,000 metres here today, I can assure you that, but it showed that this horse has really good ability, and I liked his nature, I liked how balanced he was, I liked the fact that he gathered himself beautifully when he was asked to pick his feet up and actually accelerate. I thought he did that very well. You see how flat in his action he is. Maybe he's a bit more of a daisy clipper than a horse that's going to be capable on a heavy 11 track, and as spoken by Thad, there's no money for a horse, which is very unusual out of that stable. And then here's another performance at Ruakaka, 2 seconds slower, so that would be indicative maybe of the ability across the two horses, but this filly by McPhee may just handle these track conditions better. Not quite as balanced as you'll see in the action there as the other horse, but going that way around probably was a bit of a trick on debut, learning all the time, so expect improvement. But to the eye and time-wise, I thought the top of the book was a much better performance than this, albeit a winning performance on debut on the rail and a little bit green in the action. It may find a couple of lengths, this filly by McPhee, off that performance and like the track conditions, but just doing the form on the two, you'd have to go with the top of the book, Jaeger Bombed, as the better of them. Now, this is what I do know. She's a Lady, and Platinum Bordeaux handled an off-track at Awapuni, and there are varying bits of the track on this day, I believe in reports and talking to the jockeys, that were really deep and others that were not quite as rain affected. So for this big leggy filly by Swiss 8 to pick herself up, balance up nicely and be really strong at the line, I thought it was a super performance. The gates in the right position by race number 5 to pick the spot you want to get to on the track, because she does jump away okay. Here's a nice bit of stretch about here and just pick up the run of Platinum Bordeaux out wide. Nice horse as well, through the line beautifully. Still at the 1,200 metres. She's a Lady, I think, just comes right into this race as a top winning prospect for mine, knowing that she's handled off-track conditions prior. So she's going to end up being on top for me. And here's the Southern filly now. She has fitness in her legs, and that's a big key. She's going to go around a corner for the first time this afternoon. I don't think that will be against her. She's very experienced. Lisa's got experience on her in the saddle, and she was soft to the line on this occasion, and this had a bit of ability in it and behind her, and she was dominant late. She was beaten by Trifolium, the speed horse for Fraser Orette, prior to this on a dead 6. Look, again, they're not running 1:11 here. I've heard a couple of good judges tell me that with her action, she should be able to get through the track conditions, but that's got to be some sort of question mark. But sometimes you just look for the fittest, most experienced horse on a day like this, and it may just be this filly. We've had London Express, Volpe, Veloce taking out this race. Some reasonable sort of ponies come to this race and win. And although there's not a horse that stands out today. I think it's probably a better quality across the field than in recent times. And here's Flaunting. I've seen David this morning. I didn't get a chance to actually ask him in depth around the horse, but this trial would tell you that the filly by Showcasing has come back in beautifully. The noseband goes on this afternoon. Sam Sprett travels to Wanganui to ride. I think there's a lot of factors here that tell you they're expecting a run, then the money, and it goes whoosh, and you think, well, they really do think this horse is going to run a race this afternoon. She went around clearly in the Karaka Million at the end of last preparation. It might have been just a little bit too soon, but the track conditions are a question mark, as they are with all the horses in this particular race, really, but money does talk very, very loudly. That said, I am going to go with She's a Lady on top for the Baker and Fordsman team. Got a bit of confidence that she will get through these track conditions and maybe improve into her second up performance. It is a decent sort of step up. Jacob Bond, I put it in because I just think this might be the horse you look to next season as the most exciting prospect out of the race. Flaunting's in the mix, and then the 5 All About Magic, the Southern filly. If there was one outside the square, Far came to Wanganui in the first 2 ride of the season and handled off ground, trialled up beautifully in good time. I think this horse will really love wet track conditions. There's no money for it, Jace, which is a bit of a concern also out of the Marsh stable, but maybe that's the smoky in the race with the real wet track conditions this afternoon.
Okay, race number 7 is the Foxton Cup. It's brought to you by Steel Form Roofing Group, and $3.80 is the price for High Lad. Over the river, $4.80. You've got Zentangle there at 6. A couple of horses have come out of this market. Gobstopper yesterday and Sergeant Blast this morning. So Dr. Watson there at 9.50, Bully Boy at 11. Look, High Lad's the favourite for this race. Thad, was that pretty unanimous amongst the prices?
I think it was, Jason. Look, the tote sort of reflects the feeling of this race a wee bit, and with around the 2 favourites, High Lad and Over the River, we were unanimous getting back on a heavy track or a loose track. That High Lad deserves to be favourite, particularly with that 57 kilograms, only getting 3 above the minimum here. So for a horse that's won 8 races, he deserves to be favourite, but there are those question marks about his last 2 starts. They've put it down to the holding track at Rotorua. Look, if he gets a loose track, gets conditions to suit, I think he's the best horse in the race, but people aren't jumping out of trees to take $3.80, Jason. Over the River always runs for us these days, up with the top weight. Even though he's won 23 races, people just don't want to back him with those big weights. So that means that they're backing a few at odds here. Dr. Watson's one of them. Good second last time, or likes Rotorua, likes the heavy track, obviously. Zentangle's another one, loves a heavy track. Went round and won a hurdle impressively last start. Kevin Myers trains, and at $6, there is good support around Zentangle, and Bully Boy for Adrian Bull, the other one, at around $11. I think that was 13s this morning, Jason. That run behind Hinarangi at its last start, not too bad at all. So they're boxing around our 2 favourites in this year's Foxton Cup, it's fair to say.
You just expect that over ground, a Bully Boy with a wet track, those are a couple of factors that might be important for him running a better race. This is the speed map. Over the river, Royal Ruby, Bully Boy, Commanding Prince, horses that could potentially roll forward. How did you assess the Foxton Cup here, Sweens?
Well, people don't back Over the River. I think I'm going to back Over the River this afternoon. It'll take a tough horse, and he's just that. Sitting 3 wide the trip at New Plymouth. I'm still a little bit unsure how he won that particular race. Sarah McNabb takes a couple of kilos off. 60's a lot of weight, but he's a different type of horse. He does things you don't expect, having won the 23 races. So I'm quite keen on Over the River to take out this year's Foxton Cup. By this day, I think inside draws are a terrible position to be in. So he's drawn out a little bit, and I think that's a nice position under Sarah McNabb. Dr. Watson was a massive over at Trentham last time and put up a really nice performance behind Sylvester. This is a horse who just loves to be at the racetrack and tough. So expect him to run a race this afternoon. The 5 is in the mix. High Lad, look, this horse could win, but how can you back him on the last couple of starts and on a couple of other runs? It's sort of horse that just really hard to assess, because if he brings his A game, he'll win for fun. But where is that A game? And it might pop up today, but it's only every 4 or 5 starts you get it. So you've got to be careful about exactly when you bet into him. And then outside of that, with the scratching of Sergeant Blast, Hunter Pence has gone some really nice races. I'm not sure if you'll handle these track conditions, Jason, but he's down on the 54 kilos and been competitive in Hawke's Bay Cups and other races like that. But Look, the public, it won't back him, or don't back him, as Thad tells us, so I'll back him over the river to get win number 24 here this afternoon.
It's an extraordinary record, 23 wins to date, potentially 24 after today. OK, to the Ag Challenge Stakes, and we've spoken with Andrew Calder about Back in a Flash, and the horse that's been the best backed with Thad Taylor to take out the Ag Challenge Stakes. Anything else to report there, Thad?
Yeah, there are a few things, Jason. Look, Back in a Flash certainly is clearly the best back runner. I think it will be every start it goes round the way things are going. We saw the replay of that fourth up at Rotorua, very good indeed. So clearly best backed. Look, She's Poppy, I think would be a worse result today if she wasn't a touch disappointing last start behind Hinarangi, where there was a lot of money on her that day. But the locals, you can see on the tote there, and we are seeing it for She's Poppy, who's run well in this race before. And look, there was a move for Red Sierra last start at odds, and there has been again. I think we were $12 into 10 around Red Sierra, and that's currently just ticking into a losing result around Red Sierra. So Back in a Flash, She's Poppy and Red Sierra in this year's Ag Challenge Stakes. Taurus having his 7th start in the race, Jason.
OK, the speed in the race, it looks like this. Well, will Back in a Flash be a horse that goes forward, given Andrew Calder's thoughts? He seemed very open to being positive on her. Taurus certainly seems the other obvious one here. Sweens outside of that. A few opportunities for jockeys to seize this race by the proverbial scruff of the neck.
Yeah, and you can find that position where you can get to the fence first if you want to go forward. I said yesterday to Thad on the podcast, don't put up the white flag. I think there's other chances in this race around Back in a Flash, and when I was driving to the races and it was really raining hard, I thought, no, put the white flag up, Thad. I think you're in a bit of stress there, Ed, with just the way this track is going to play. I think this horse is the one you go through it and you think, where's the real, true wet tracker? Where's the one that's going to have no concerns here? Back in the Flash is the one outside of Rosewood, who I think, if there'd been another run in Rosewood's legs to the 1600 metres, I might say you might have a second flag in your back pocket, but 1600 metres with just that trial out of a 1200 metre event, I think the white flag might have to go up there. Platinum Command went a great race in this as well. Tomalila, of course, came here and won last season. She's Poppy with the blinkers on. I was really disappointed last time on She's Poppy. I thought she'd go a lot better than that. Maybe she got caught wide, but I'm thinking that Sean was trying to find that part of the track and he got there and she didn't really finish off. See, I was so impressed with Back in a Flash when I first saw the Source win at our Pony, and then they went to New Plymouth and it came from last, an impossible position, and went whoosh, and then we've seen other performances where it's been very, very good. So this is the best form race to actually bring into the race, isn't it, with She's Poppy, Dolcetto and Red Sierra. Red Sierra is going really well for the house. Charlotte's kept the saddle here this afternoon, went down a small margin across a very tough mare in Hiniarangi. You'll see She's Poppy at what I thought she'd pick up here. She didn't. Dolcetto is fighting strongly through the centre. 59 kilos in these off-track conditions wouldn't generally be a major concern, but he just hasn't got the job done after putting them together in a row in recent times. But look, he's been very good as well. The match of Red Sierra with the weight, She's Poppy was a little bit disappointing. Back in a Flash isn't my best bet on the program, but it will be an investment in my $100 strategy. I think She's Poppy with the blinkers going on comes right into this. Dolcetto, Rosewood will run a race with these prevailing track conditions and a tough horse, but yeah, I think we might be waving the, well, not me, Dad might be waving the white flag here, Jace, into one of the features on the program.
All you need to be doing, Sweens, is waving to the crowd when Back in the Flash wins, and yeah, we'll leave the telling for that. Race number 9. Now this is a very intriguing race because it features a horse that is shortened significantly in what's up. It's now $4.80. Myrtle coming off a wins $5.50. Charlie Horse $7.50. Maybe a bit below expectations at Trentham. That said, this is the type of race again where could race into it late, Charlie Horse. Portland Jimmy is at 8-1 and Spondulix there is wedged there at $7.50. Is it all about, again, what's up here, Thad?
Yeah, it really is to a large degree, Jason. Obviously the move has come pretty heavily and obviously chased home Myrtle last time, but Jonathan Parks aboard, you know, a lot of ticks in the boxes for what's up, and you know, it looks a very progressive type. Myrtle obviously he accorded some chance. You've spotted Charlie Horse down the bottom, coming out of a race behind High I'm Nikita, who's been the subject of a couple of betting plunges at its last couple of starts, High I'm Nikita, but Yeah, Charlie Horse again has support, so that would be the second best back runner, Charlie Horse, but they really have focused in on what's up to take out the last race. And as I look down the page, usually I'd be looking for something a little bit double figure odds that we're actually currently losing on, and it just isn't there because the majority of the money is on what's up, and if you're not on what's up, you're on Charlie Horse.
Good information, thanks Thad. This is the speed map, and Portland Jimmy Father, Lenahandra on the inside have speed C Star, also goes forward. Bevan Sweeney, I know that you've always had a lot of time for what's up. You've been spruiking him a bit throughout, particularly, this preparation, but you've had a lot of time for the horse. He's delivered a couple of times. Are you with him again today?
He's my best, and if you'd told me I'd come to Wanganui race number 9, heavy 11, rain falling, and I was going to tip you my best and the last on the program, I generally would give myself an uppercut. But he's a horse who he's just been so enormous his last 4 starts. He was caught wide last time, and he managed to come back at Moodle. So I'm telling you, in my assessment, he's honest and he will keep rolling to the line in this sort of track conditions. Go back to his first win. He raced here at Wanganui, got to the outside fence. He beat a horse called Proletariat in very wet track conditions, and he just kept on running through the line. His 2 seconds in recent times, or the 3 starts ago, at Hastings, he was off the track the whole way. He was so brave that day to be beaten a length and a half. He beat Collins Street quite comfortably at Trentham next up. Collins Street came out and murdered a field last Saturday from an impossible position, and I think he should have won at Awapuni. Holly just unfortunately got trapped wide just through circumstances rather than anything else, and the horse just kept on rolling to the line. He's got a draw. Look, generally you'd say that draw is a horrid draw, but by the last on the program here, it's probably going to be perfect, and I think he just wins this race, fingers crossed, and look, the money's come for him. Over the 10 in the book, Lincoln Star, I expect this horse to run a race with his course record, 3rd up this preparation. Gate's going to be perfect at that stage of the day. Spondulix doesn't win out of turn, but I'm quite keen on him as well. And yes, Charlie Horse, expected a little bit more last time around. Charlie Horse, he never really got into it. So this horse comes, though, into a 72 today, therefore goes the other way in the weight scale. But a good quality horse, yeah. Look, I've been a fan, so not getting off the ship today, Jace, he'll be my best on the program, and race number 9's not a great place to have your best.
Oh, but you make a good point about the draw. It's gone from 54F by the toilets on a good track 14 to actually being 1A by the time you'd expect them to be racing closer to the outside fence come race number 9. How about your strategy and your best on the program here, Bevan? Oh, you've talked about your best, but how about your $100 strategy?
Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to have 3 win bets. I do like 3 today. If one of them gets up, we're in a positive unit sort of position. So my value is Scarlowy at 5.50. What's up is my best at $4.80. Go back and watch Scarlowy. It's the sort of horse that I thought it'll win next up, and then I sort of looked at that field and thought I would have liked a little bit of a weaker field because it's actually come up quite strong, and he's the sort of horse who can be niggly in the gates and get back. But he's got a lot of ability. Price early was 7, now 5.50. I'm going with him. 30 on him. Back in a flash, I think, is a good bet at 4.40 with 30, and I'll put 40 on what's up at $4.80. One gets up, Jace. We're in a positive position on the afternoon. First on our program goes in just on 30 minutes' time. And just a quick note, Madan Singh will replace Chris Johnson on the Cossack. He's just having a few travel issues with what seemingly has been horrific conditions coming out of Canterbury over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, that will be no doubt affecting Addington and the 9-race program for Harness Jewels Day. Bevan Sweeney there, assessing some of the better races, and his better bets of the program at Wanganui will be building into race 1 there very soon.